And now join us here on the Inland Sports Show as we preview the CIF State Wrestling Meet coming up in Bakersfield Friday and Saturday from Canyon Springs High School. Kyree Rubio, a CIF Southern Section Masters champion. But Kyree, listen, Masters champion sounds great. I know it means a lot, but I would imagine for you at least, getting to the state meet and winning a state championship, is that kind of the end game, the big goal for you this season?
Yes, it is.
And was that, before the season even began, was that kind of what you thought, okay, for this season, to be successful, for me to, reach my ultimate dream, is it to be a CIF state champion?
Yes, and as well, if we're able and granted the trip, to be a nationals champion as well.
Ooh, big goals.
Yes.
So you went to the CIF state meet last year. You were telling me you came in 4th place. That last year's experience, just going there, wrestling in a huge arena, all those people, can you use that experience last year to help you this time around? So I don't know if you're more prepared or ready for the environment or anything like that.
Oh yeah, it's a very tough tournament, and it's beautiful to be in all the rounds. I believe that I take the experience that I've been granted and just go out there. It'll just motivate me to be what I want to be.
Kyree, how did you get into wrestling, first off? Did you have a sibling? Parents kind of steer you in that direction? How did you first start?
Actually, I was doing football, and it was during COVID time, and so we were having to do COVID tests, and my coach, which is Paul Gold, he came up and he was like, "Oh, you're the girl on the boys football team." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And he was like, "Well, come try wrestling out." And so that's how I got into it.
Oh, and obviously you were a natural, right?
Yeah, it was as soon as I started, I was like, okay, this is different. I was like, but it kind of has some similarities, but not really much. But yeah, it was honestly, I liked it.
Yeah, what did you like at first? I mean, because obviously you could have tried it and said, okay, wrestling's not for me. I'm going to go back to football or whatever else. But what was it about wrestling? You're like, this is kind of fun.
It was just, to be honest, it was the most physical. And it was in my mind was all yeah, I can go out there and I can do something. It just depends on me. I don't have to kind of rely on my teammates. And so it was like a motivation to me.
And so how many years has that been now? You said that was COVID, so that was what? It's been 3 seasons, I guess?
Yeah, this is my 4th season.
You're in your 4th season now? So
yes.
From where you started as truly a beginner in the sport to where you are right now, how much have you improved and progressed, would you say?
Honestly, I've progressed a lot mentally and physically, as well as in the sport.
It's funny you say that because I talk to a lot of wrestlers and their coaches, and they say, especially this time of the year, going to the Masters and now the CIF state meet, physically they're great wrestlers. They know what they need to do, but it's kind of a mental thing to make sure you're locked in and you got the right mindset. Is that safe to say? And for you, how do you get there? How do you make sure you're in the right mind space, that you're ready to compete and maybe bring home a state championship?
I just realized I don't really wrestle. I don't think that I need to wrestle to win. I need to wrestle to go with it and be the best, and given the abilities and stuff that I've been granted, that's how I get my mind right.
What do your family and friends think about all this?
Oh, my parents are always worried. My parents are always like, "Oh my God, don't get hurt," or "What's gonna happen?" Because I'm kind of the first one in my family. They were all like, "What's wrestling?" And my friends all like, "That's cool."
Did you play other sports? I mean, besides football, was there anything else growing up?
Yeah, I did basketball. I did a bunch of little sports. I did flag football too. I did mainly kind of contact sports if I could.
Uh-huh. So was your family surprised that you were so good at wrestling, or were they like, "Oh, okay, no, she's pretty physical and aggressive. That's totally her"?
At first, my parents were all like, no, because you can get hurt. And then now they're just like, okay, now we see where it does play a good part. They're like, because when you did other sports, you'd always get called for some type of stuff. Too much
foul
contact.
Or something, too much contact?
Yes, yes.
So okay, so Kyree, looking big picture, you know, you talked about maybe a national championship, like who knows, but I mean, do you want to wrestle in college? Do you want to, you know, continue this even after high school?
Yes, I do. I've actually been talking to some colleges.
Is that exciting for you? Like, man, like wrestling has opened up, you know, new doors, new opportunities for you, it sounds like.
Yes, it's very amazing, exciting, and as well as blessed, like to be granted many opportunities.
So, Kyree, what has practice been like this week leading up to the CIF state meet? What is Coach Lowe or anyone of, you know, maybe teammates or coaches? Because I know like Sonny and Remy, right? You know, these guys, they're right there too, you know, trying to get a state championship. So I don't know if there's any advice they give you or, you know, tips or things that give you, you know, motivate you, like, you know, Coach Lowe or your teammates. I mean, to try to make sure that you're, like we talked about, like the right mindset to go in there and compete for a state championship.
Yeah, Sunny and Remy always say you gotta want it. Like you gotta work hard, you gotta show dedication, and you just gotta make sure that it's what you're wanting mentally and physically. And then Coach Diaz, he tells us, he's like, nobody's gonna beat you but yourself. And so that kind of like helps me when I think about like, oh my God, something's gonna happen. And it's like, if I beat myself mentally, I already lost. And so it's like I have to have the right mindset going into these big tournaments.
So it sounds like it's more about what you do as opposed to what your opponent. You're going to wrestle some great, you know, girls out there, but it's more about what you do, right? If you take care of your own business, you feel like you might have a chance to bring home a state title?
Yes, you have to go get it. I believe I got to go get it.
Well, Kyree, listen, congratulations on the Masters Championship. That's a big deal in itself in the Southern section, and now you get to go to the state meet and hopefully go a little bit farther than last year's finish and maybe bring home a state championship. Who knows? Maybe Canyon Springs will have like 3 state champions by the time you guys come back from Bakersfield.
Hey, hopefully. We all got to work hard for it.
Kyree, listen, I appreciate it. Best of luck up there at the CIF State Meet. That's Kyree Rubio from Canyon Springs Wrestling here on the Inland Sports Show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Inland Sports.